stations.
Love
We've
it,
already
love it.
got all the places.
That
where
was a
you
good
need
point
to
you
have the
made. You know
infrastructure.
having it interconnected. Go do my shopping, charge my car, everything's together.
Well,
Yeah.
big challenge.
Welcome to One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric L. Adams. On this edition of One Brooklyn, Brooklyn Borough President Adams unveils recommendations for modernizing Brooklyn's gas stations with sustainable fueling solutions. The announcement took place at the electric car charging station in the parking lot of the Whole Foods in Gowanus. Besides several clean energy cars of the future, one of the vehicles, a Toyota Miria, was powered by electrical fuel cell technology. And it was driven to the press conference by Brooklyn Borough President Adams himself. The Borough President Adams report comes at a time of significant transformation in the auto industry. Just last week, Volvo became the first mainstream automaker to plan a move to an all-electric fleet, while Tesla began manufacturing its first mass-produced affordable electrical vehicle. While this weekend, Formula E is preparing to hold its inaugural New York City Championship race of electric vehicles in Red Hook. Borough President Adams convened a hearing last November to address fueling infrastructure challenges facing Brooklyn, and also to discuss the importance of the city and state to step up and prepare for technology and resiliency adaptations that the borough's gas stations and alternative fueling sites need to make. According to the Borough President's office, since Superstorm Sandy, 9 gas stations have closed in Brooklyn, with 2 more planning to close soon, and another 12 being at risk in the next few years.
Hi, I am Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, and we are fully charged with the thought of moving our borough, our city, our country into the right direction on how do we ensure the transportation needs are met of all consumers and business industry. This is a win-win for all. I drove over today in a fuel hydrogen vehicle. That vehicle came from New Jersey. Why? Because we do not have a docking station anywhere in New York City. We cannot continue to drive towards the future if we remain in neutral. It's time to put the pedal to the metal and move this in the right direction in any capacity that we can. This is an exciting time for how do we properly fuel vehicles, fuel transportation needs, and move the economy in the right direction. The amount of jobs and new thinking and mindsets that will come out of this initiative is amazing. We have to have new locations, new stations, new designs of vehicles. How do we use large trucks? All of these conversations will play a role of having new minds think about moving this conversation forward in the right way. Great team of people that is here with us today. Ted Kwong, the regional director, PR director of Whole Foods, a place where people come and energize themselves and fuel their bodies. Now they can fuel their vehicles at the same time with these docking charging stations that are here. ChargePoint, a representative from ChargePoint would be here as well. Is here with us as well, and we have a representative of Toyota who will also talk about their great project that we have. 60 charging docks in Brooklyn, none in South or Central Brooklyn. We need to expand that to make sure it's access for whoever wants to purchase a vehicle and use a vehicle of this capacity. The ride is unbelievable. I currently drive a hybrid, but you can see the evolution of the vehicles and how the style and how the ability to have the quick pickup. My son will not be disappointed in how smooth this vehicle drives. This is not your dad's Oldsmobile or dad's hybrid vehicle. This is the vehicle and hybrid, and this is the energy of the future, and we're extremely excited about it. How did this come about with Borough Hall? We noticed as we attempted to fuel our fleets in the borough, gas stations were closing by the numbers. It was becoming more and more difficult to find a gas station or a place to fuel our vehicle. After Superstorm Hurricane Sandy, we realized that the emergency needs of our emergency vehicle fleet, police officers were unable to find fuel. Those officers and firefighters and first responders who needed to fuel their vehicles to come in and out of the city to their place of employment. They couldn't find stations. We saw an increased number of stations closing in the borough, and we understood after a hearing that we had how fast gas stations are disappearing. We're almost a victim of our success. The increased property values in the borough of Brooklyn are causing gas stations to close, and individuals are using those spaces as a way to put up housing, the much needed housing in the borough. We agree that housing is needed, but at the same time, we know that the ability to fuel vehicles and the ability to be able to move our population is extremely important. Since Superstorm Sandy, 9 stations have closed in Brooklyn, 2 more planning to close, and another 12 being at risk in the next few years. So when you do the math comes up with a serious problem on our horizon. So before it reaches a crisis point, we need to come up with a proactive plan and not a reactionary plan. Governor Cuomo's Fuel New York initiative should be expanded to provide backup power supply at every fueling station. Fossil fuel only is the thing of the past. You cannot have an emergency apparatus to deal with storms or other serious emergencies when the only methodology you have to fuel the vehicles is if you can get fossil fuel down the 95 highway. If you all remember, we could not get the delivery of fuel here because of the backlog of the trucks unable to get here because of Superstorm Sandy. I'm going to commit my capital dollars to funding and implement a resiliency plan to ensure that these measures move forward. And I want to tell the entire country, Brooklyn must start the initiative that should cascade throughout the entire country. California got it right. Europe has it right. We cannot remain in neutral and expect to move the country in the right direction. It's time to shift to drive and drive how we're going to move this conversation forward. France has just announced that it would ban all carbon fuel cars by 2040. Last week, Volvo became the first mainstream automaker to plan a move to an all-electric fleet. Tesla has just begun to manufacture its first mass-produced, affordable electric vehicle. Formula E racing right here in the borough of Brooklyn is a race that's going to take place next week, showing that you don't have to trade off the power of moving forward and acceleration with using electric or to use hydrogen-type vehicles. I was extremely impressed when I clicked on the power button in my vehicle on the dashboard, the smart dashboard, to see the power that came with driving the vehicle. These are great moments and great opportunities to do some great things, and we want to be a part of it right here in the borough of Brooklyn. More than a tree grows in Brooklyn, and an entire industry on how to move consumers and businesses forward. My goal is to replace the current fleet we have at Borough Hall. We have hybrids, but we would like to change that and move towards having some of the newer vehicles that are here. I would love to get something like that beautiful Toyota, or to bump my game up a little and get a whole BMW that's behind me. So we're excited about this opportunity on what we can do. 300 miles in a hydrogen vehicle, 300 miles to a full, we would say, to a full tank. We need to ensure that those fueling stations are located here in the city and in the state. Can't continue to go outside the state to fuel the type of fuel that we need to fuel our future. Great chance, great opportunity, great partners, and I want to bring up one of those great partners now, Ted Cron, the Regional PR Director of Whole Foods. Ted?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Well, let me just say that we're very flattered that President Adams came here to our wonderful Gowanus store to make his announcement. Since we opened our very first store at Whole Foods Market in 1980, we've been passionate, certainly, about healthy food, but it's also a core mission to focus on a healthy planet as well. And, it goes from the very top of our executives who make decisions that put planet before profits, and it goes down to the store level as well, where individual team members make decisions about the store's operations that could make the operations just a little bit greener every day. So this is what we describe as our green mission, and it's something that we work on every single day. Our Gowanus store in particular is probably one of the best examples we have of this in the entire company. Just to name a few accolades, we received top awards in 3 different certifications. This is a LEED Platinum certified grocery store from the U.S. Green Building Council. We have 4 out of 4 Green Globes from the Green Building Initiative. And finally, we also have Green Chill Platinum certified refrigeration from the EPA. So a great example, the solar panels that you see covering us, providing a little shade on this day today, can also produce up to 20% of the entire store's electricity all by themselves on a particularly sunny day like today. The lighting around the entire parking lot, including right above my head, is completely off the grid. It's powered by our wind and solar installations that you can see prominently in the parking lot, and they're connected to batteries so that they work perfectly at night. No electricity off the grid required. And then finally, one of the most obvious features that you can see from miles away is the fact that we even have our very own greenhouse on top of the store, one of the very first in the country. That's our partner, Gotham Greens, that runs that, and you can buy the produce that's grown up there, right down there. So. Not the only technological innovation here today either, though. Obviously, we have our friends at BMW with their new i3 here today. Can go up to 180 miles on a single charge, and then the range extender kicks in. And it's made completely out of carbon fiber, so you get fuel efficiency, you get speed, yes, of course, it can still be fun, and all the above. And it's also one of the most sustainably built vehicles ever made. And finally, I think our other partners here, ChargePoint, will talk a little bit about the new charging stations that we have here at our Brooklyn store. So, say a few words.
Yes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kevin Miller. I'm the Director of Public Policy for ChargePoint. By way of a little background, we've got more than a decade of experience in the business. We've deployed the world's largest network of electric vehicle charging stations with more than 38,000 charging spots in North America. We've built a solid foundation in the industry with charging solutions for every scenario, at home, at work, around town, and on a trip. And we're the only EV charging solution company that manufactures, designs both hardware and software solutions. Today's announcement is a really exciting milestone for the City of New York, and we're really eager to support Borough President Adams in his commitment to expand fueling solutions in Brooklyn. Achieving equitable access to clean transportation will take a diverse group of stakeholders and leadership like that of Borough President Adams. Our collaboration with the borough and our friends at Whole Foods, BMW, and Pfister Energy is an example of how working together is key to developing electric vehicle infrastructure in communities around the country. EV drivers primarily charge their vehicle when they arrive at their destination, not, like a grocery store, for example, rather than at a pit stop on their way to a destination. So collaborations like these will ensure that the charging solutions that are deployed are ones that best serve drivers, businesses, and the entire community. These partnerships are also critical to expanding New York and New York City's commitment to transportation electrification, such as the mayor's commitment to a clean fleet, Con Edison's EV charging efforts, and the governor's EV incentive. But it's going to take hard work on the ground in communities and leadership like that is being shown today to make that a reality. So thank you again to the Borough President for the opportunity, and to all the project partners for being here and making this happen today.
Thank you. Well said. And representing Toyota and the hydrogen vehicle.
Hi, I'm Jerry Yoza. I'm the Senior Manager for Fuel Cell Vehicles for Toyota out of Torrance, California. We're really excited to be here today and having Borough President Adams to drive the vehicle over here. Toyota actually has is very strategic and has a long range view and vision of its environmental efforts. We have a 2050 goal of being zero carbon in operations, in net operations by 2050. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do it with hybrids, we're going to do it with plug-in electric vehicles, and our newest technology, our fuel cell hydrogen electric vehicle. So Toyota already has about 1,700 of these vehicles, hydrogen vehicles, called the Mirai, which means future in Japanese, on the road in California. And we plan to bring the fuel cell vehicle out here to the Northeast as well as we build stations. We expect about 6 stations just in the New York City, New Jersey, northern New Jersey metro area, and another 6 stations up in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island combined. So we're really excited about bringing this vehicle to market. Now, we believe, as well as California, that you need both your fuel cell vehicles as well as your plug-in all-battery electric vehicles in order to reach our clean air goals. So Toyota has a portfolio. We plan on working together with the various states out here in the Northeast to make this dream a reality. So thank you very much for letting me be here today.
Thank you. Good try. And finally, from BMW, representing BMW, why don't you come and say a few words, you know?
Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Justin Silverman. I work for BMW of Brooklyn. I actually brought an i3 with me today just to showcase. This is our range extender, so it can give you up to 180 miles of distance just on the battery itself, and then the range extender kicks in just to give you a few extra miles so you don't have any anxiety while driving the car. So I'm glad to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And so if we're asking industry to prioritize, we have to incentivize. And we're saying, let's find ways to encourage industry to grow here around the hydrogen and electric vehicles. Same way they're doing it in California, we need to do the same thing. Let's look at zoning text amendment, allowing for more liberal transfers of development. We can do great things here. A zoning text amendment allowing for more liberal transfer of development rights by station owners within the few New York priority corridors would help protect existing stations, incentivizing by giving tax breaks, tax credits, incentivizing by allowing those who purchase vehicles to have a tax credit or even a fueling credit, encouraging the reproduction and use of these vehicles is going to move the behaviors of everyday consumers and allow them to allay their fears and concerns and uncertainties as we move into a new mindset of the new norm that fossil fuel is a thing of the past. And I'm excited about doing so. I'll never forget putting a rotary foam in front of my grand nephew and having him look at it and wonder, what the heck is this? That's how we're going to feel about fueling stations in the future. This is the future. We're moving in the right direction. Fossil fuel is leaving. Hydrogen vehicles and electric vehicles are the thing of the future, just as Hurricane Sandy's are the thing of the future. Now we can't just react. We must be prepared, and this is our opportunity to do so. Thank you. We'll open up to any questions to me or any of the other folks who have joined the team today. Yes, we're calling on all levels. We're calling on the state level, part of the governor's initiative around ensuring that we are prepared. Needs to be built-in tax incentives. We should look at some of the things we're doing on SUNY and CUNY campuses, where if you open a business on those locations, it gives you some tax incentives. Let's expand that thought and look at some of our industrial parks right here in the borough, in the city, in the state, to call on the development of these vehicles and building plants here. And then let's encourage tax incentives on the federal level, which is moving in the wrong direction. All of this conversation about fossil fuel is just something we shouldn't even think about. It is similar to trying to figure out what 8-track machine you're going to invest in an iPhone age. Fossil fuel development is the past. Let's incentivize the development of hydrogen and electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles for the future, and we could do it by having tax incentives on the federal, on the state, and on the city level. Great, thank you.
2 to 3 hours to go from flat to full, or you could do 30 minutes or less. And we just released a new charging infrastructure, which is 400 kilowatts. So
and I assume over time.